close your eyes for a moment and imagine walking into a room you've never seen before. The air is soft, almost warm, with the faint hum of something electric, like a quiet heartbeat hidden behind the walls. Two empty chairs wait under a single hanging light, one facing east, the other west, as if placed for two people who have never met and never expected to. There are no cameras, no audience, no applause, just a small sign on the wall that reads, "Tell the truth, don't judge." You sit quietly on the other side of the room, watching two strangers walk toward those chairs, people whose lives have never crossed, whose fears have never been spoken aloud, whose hearts are carrying far more weight than their faces reveal. They don't shake hands, they don't smile. Their eyes flick toward each other as if both are searching for permission to breathe. The first is a woman in her mid-30s, shoulders tucked inward, like someone who learned a long time ago that shrinking makes you safer. The second is a man in his late 40s, posture straight, but only because he spent so many years pretending he was stronger than he felt. They sit. A small device in the middle of the table lights up. A voice, calm and distant, instructs them. Share your deepest fear. No judgment, no fixing, just listening. The room falls into a silence, so still it feels alive. The woman inhales, but the breath catches halfway, trembling against her ribs. She wasn't ready, not really. She agreed to come because the idea sounded harmless enough. Talk to a stranger, be honest, walk away unchanged. But now, under this dim circle of light, she realizes change was never optional. Her fingers tighten on her knees. She looks at the floor instead of his eyes. "My deepest fear," she starts, but the words break like thin ice. She tries again. "My deepest fear is that I'll go through my entire life and never feel truly known by anyone." The man doesn't move. He doesn't lean in. He doesn't nod. He just listens. For the first time in years, she feels the kind of silence that isn't Coldit's permission. "I'm surrounded by people," she continues softly, "friends, coworkers, family, but none of them really know me. Not the real me. I keep everything inside because I'm scared that if I told the truth, even once, they'd walk away." Her voice cracks. "I'm scared I'm too much, and I'm scared I'm not enough at the same time." She wipes her eyes quickly, almost angrily, as if apologizing for being human. She's expecting him to look uncomfortable, or sympathetic, or confused. Anything that would hint she'd gone too far. But he just sits there, breathing slowly, eyes steady, not pulling away, not moving closer, just holding space for her fear without trying to rearrange it. The device glows again, and a soft voice says, "Thank you. Now you may trade places." The man exhales a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. He rubs his palms on his jeans once, twice, then rests them on the table, as if anchoring himself to something solid. When he finally speaks, his voice is controlled, but the edges are frayed. "My deepest fear," he says quietly, "is that something will happen to the people I love, and it'll be my fault." She raises her eyes, surprised, not at the fear, but at the honesty. "I'm afraid every day," he continues. "I worry about my kids when they leave the house. I worry about my wife when she drives at night. I worry that the small mistakes I've made, things I barely remember, will somehow ripple out and ruin the lives of the people I care about." He swallows. "I'm scared that no matter how hard I try, there will always be something I missed, something I failed to protect." He looks at his hands, the lines etched deep into them. I've always thought love meant control. If I could anticipate every danger, every possibility, I could keep everyone safe. His voice cracks not loudly, but in a way that sounds like something inside him finally gave up fighting. But the truth is, I can't, and I'm terrified that the moment I stop trying, I'll lose everything. The woman takes a breath, slow and deep-hand. This time she looks at him, really looks, not with sympathy, not with pity, but with understanding, the quiet kind, the kind that says, I hear you, I get it, I've been afraid to. The silence stretches again, but it doesn't feel empty. It feels like two people sitting with the parts of themselves they never dared to show anyone else. Then something strange happens, something unplanned, something fragile and almost invisible. Their breathing sinks, not perfectly, but enough that the room feels less divided, less unfamiliar, less lonely. For a moment, the woman's hands stop trembling. For a moment, the man's shoulders drop, just slightly, as if the weight he carried became a little lighter, simply because someone finally saw it. The device glows again. The voice returns. You may respond to each other. No judgment, no solutions, only truth. The woman speaks first. I don't think you're failing anyone, she whispers. I think you're loving them so much that it scares you. She hesitates, and I think that means you care more than you realize. The man doesn't answer with words at first. He just nods a deep, genuine nod that looks more like gratitude than agreement. Then he says, and you more known just from these few minutes than most people allow themselves to be in years. Maybe the problem isn't that you're too much or not enough. Maybe the problem is that the people around you aren't listening. She smiles, a small, fragile, honest smile. For the first time in a long time, she feels seen. For the first time in a longer time, he feels understood. The lights dim slightly, as if the room itself recognizes something rare is happening to strangers, sitting in the soft glow of vulnerability. Not running, not hiding, just being human together. And as they sit there, neither realizes that the story they're part of, the one unfolding quietly in this small, forgotten room, is about to go somewhere even deeper. Somewhere neither expected, somewhere they both needed. Somewhere the truth becomes not a confession, but a bridge. And that's exactly where the moment begins to shift, and the real fear steps into the light. And the real fear steps into the light. Not the fear they confessed, not the fear they rehearsed, but the fear that sits behind all the other fears, the one built from years of silence, years of pretending, years of carrying weight in the dark with no one noticing. The woman shifts slightly in her chair. Something inside her is pushing upward, a feeling she has spent half her life trying to bury. She doesn't want it to rise, doesn't want to look at it, doesn't want to hand it to a stranger. But the room feels different now, safer, softer, like it's holding her together in a way she didn't know she needed. She draws in a shaky breath. There's something else, she whispers. Something I didn't say. The man looks up, his expression open, patient in a way that feels unfamiliar yet comforting. He doesn't lean forward, doesn't pressure her, just gives her the kind of stillness that makes truth easier to speak. She closes her eyes. I'm scared that the people I love don't really love me back. Her voice cracks on the last word, as if it had been held too tightly for too long. I'm scared that if I stopped trying so hard, if I stopped being useful, or pleasing, or funny, or quiet, there'd be no reason for anyone to stay. She wipes her cheek with her sleeve, frustrated with herself. I spend so much time making sure everyone else feels okay. But I'm terrified that if they really knew me, they wouldn't choose me, that they'd just move on. Her words hang in the air like a secret, finally letting itself breathe. The man doesn't interrupt. He doesn't fill the silence with comfort or contradiction. He just watches her with eyes that say, "I hear you. Keep going." She hesitates for a moment, then adds, "I think I've been lonely for so long. I stopped noticing it until now." A quiet shock moves across his face, not sympathy, but recognition, the kind that comes from someone who knows the shape of the same ache. He takes in a slow breath. "I know that feeling," he says softly, "more than you think." She looks at him, really looks. Something about the way he says it makes her chest tighten, as if the distance between them has shrunk even further. He continues, voice lower now, almost ashamed of the truth he's about to reveal. "The thing I didn't say earlier, the thing behind the fear of failing my family." He pauses, swallowing hard. "I'm afraid that even with all the people around me, I'm still alone too." Her breath catches. He stares at the table, fingers tracing invisible lines. "I love my family. I'd die for them, but sometimes I feel like I'm a ghost in my own home, like I'm there, but not really seen, like they rely on me, but they don't actually know me." His voice softens further, and somehow, the more I try to protect them, the more I disappear. The woman's eyes soften with quiet astonishment, the familiar kind again, the "I thought it was just me" kind. He goes on, but slower now, each sentence sounding like a confession he's never let himself speak aloud. "I'm afraid that if I stopped being strong for everyone, no one would know what to do with me." A pause. "I'm afraid that if I told the truth, even once, it would change how they look at me." Another pause. "And I'm afraid that somewhere along the way, I forgot how to be myself." The room feels smaller, now, not in a suffocating way, but in that holy, fragile way a room feels when two people finally drop their armor. The light between them softens, warms, as if the air itself is leaning closer to listen. The device glows again, the calm voice returns. You may respond, but neither speaks at first. They just sit in the silence. They create deep, vulnerable, human. Finally, the woman says, barely above a whisper, "You're not invisible, not here." He lifts his head. His eyes shine in a way he tries to hide but can't. "And you," he answers gently, "you're not hard to love. You've just been loving people who don't know how to see you." Her breath shudders, a soft exhale that sounds like relief for the first time in years. Something unspoken passes between them, something simple, something steady, something true. To strangers who walked into a room carrying fears shaped like walls, now sitting in a space where those walls have quietly begun to crack. The woman leans back slowly, hands resting lightly on her lap, no longer clenched. The man's shoulders loosen more, like he's finally allowed himself 1 inch of rest. And in that strange, shared quiet, a third fear begins to rise. Not from her, not from him, but from the space between them, an unspoken truth neither knows how to confront. A fear that asks, what if connection is scarier than loneliness? The device pulses once, glowing a deeper shade of gold as if sensing something new is forming. The voice says, "You may share one more fear, the one beneath all the others." Both inhale slowly. Both look at each other. Both know exactly what that fear is, even before either of them dares to speak it. Even before either of them dares to speak it. The room feels heavier now, not with discomfort, but with meaning, as if the air itself knows they about to walk into the part of themselves they tried hardest to avoid. The woman breathes in slowly, her chest rising with the weight of something wordless. The man's fingers tap once against the table, then still completely. They both wait for the other to speak first. Neither does. The silence stretches, not empty, not awkward, but charged. A silence where truth gathers strength. Finally, the woman exhales through her nose, eyes fixed on the faint glow of the device. I think, she says softly, my deepest fear isn't about being unknown or unloved. Her voice trembles, not with weakness, but with the terrifying clarity of realization. I think my deepest fear is that I'll finally let myself be seen, and I'll lose control of everything. The man's breath catches. Her words hit him like a mirror held too close. I've spent so long protecting myself, she whispers, putting up walls, making sure no one got close enough to hurt me. And now the idea of letting anyone in, even someone kind, terrifies me. Because if they see the messy parts, the dark parts, the parts I don't understand myself, maybe they'll walk away, or maybe they won't, maybe they'll stay. And somehow, she looks down at her shaking hands. That's even scarier. He nods slowly, feeling every word as if they were carved out of his own chest. I get that, he murmurs, more than I want to admit. The room hums softly, the light flickering with a subtle warmth, as if encouraging him to continue. My deepest fear, he says, is that if I stop pretending to be strong, I won't know who I am. He pauses, letting the truth settle. I've been the protector, the fixer, the reliable one, for so long, and the idea of letting someone see me weak. His voice cracks in a way that is almost painful to hear. I don't know how to do that, and I don't know if I'd survive it. She looks at him with a kind of gentle astonishment, as if she's watching a mountain crumble into something human. He continues, slower now, voice shaking. I'm afraid that the moment someone sees the truth, the fear, the doubt, the exhaustion, they'll realize I'm not enough, not strong enough, not good enough, not anything enough. He blinks hard. I'm afraid I'll disappoint everyone I love, and they'll see me the way I've secretly seen myself. The woman's eyes soften, filling with something warmer than sadness, deeper than empathy. She whispers, maybe strength isn't about holding everything together. He meets her eyes, really meets them for the first time. Then what is it? He asks. She takes a breath, steadying her voice. Maybe real strength, she says quietly, is letting yourself be seen, even if it scares you. The words hover between them like a fragile bridge, forming plank by plank. He doesn't answer right away. His throat works around a knot of emotion he's never allowed himself to feel. When he finally speaks, his voice is softer than anything he's said before. Do you think it's possible, he asks, for two strangers to understand each other more than the people they've known for years? She nods almost immediately. Yes, she says, because sometimes strangers don't expect anything from you. They just listen. A slow exhale leaves his chest, the kind that releases something heavy and buried. The device glows again, brighter this time, almost golden, like warmth spreading across the room. The voice returns, but softer now, gentler, almost human. You may offer each other one sentence, one truth, one thing the other person needs to hear. The woman's breath steadies. She looks at him, eyes clear. You are enough, she whispers. Even when you're not strong, even when you're afraid, even when you think you're failing, You are enough. The man closes his eyes. The words land like medicine, quiet, slow, healing in places he didn't know were wounded. When he opens them again, there's a wet shine. He doesn't bother hiding. He nods once, then twice. Then he offers his truth. You are not unlovable, he says, voice deep, steadying. You've never been the problem. You've just been giving your heart to people who didn't know how to hold it. But you deserve to be known exactly as you are. Her breath catches. She presses a hand to her chest, as if steadying a heartbeat that suddenly feels too loud. The golden light slowly fades into a soft white glow. For a long moment, neither of them moves, neither speaks. They sit in that fragile space between fear and connection. Two strangers in a room who came in burdened by their own private ghosts, and now sit together in a peace that feels almost sacred. The voice speaks one final time. You may leave when you're ready, but neither stands up. The woman looks at the door, then at him. He looks at the door, then at her. Neither wants to break the moment first. Finally, she whispers, almost laughing through the leftover tears on her cheeks. This was supposed to be easy, wasn't it? He huffs a soft laugh. We got tricked, he says. They asked for fears. They didn't warn us about honesty. She smiles, a real one, the kind that reaches the eyes. He returns it for the first time all night. And then, almost unspoken, they both rise, not quickly, not abruptly, but in the slow, deliberate way of people who are taking something with them. Something invisible, something important. They walk toward the door together, not touching, but close enough that their shadows overlap on the floor. Just before they step out, she says softly, "Thank you for seeing me." He replies, "Thank you for letting me." The door opens. A brighter world waits outside, unchanged, and yet somehow different. They stepped through it. Two fears, two hearts that finally let themselves be seen. And in a small, softly lit room behind them, the light flickers once, as if satisfied, as if reminding them, and anyone who ever listens to this story, that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is tell the truth to someone who has no reason to run away.